The Galactic Council chamber was a place of wonder. It was built on a floating station above a bright blue star, a symbol of unity for hundreds of species. The chamber itself was shaped like a great circle, wide enough to hold thousands of beings with tall glass walls that opened to the endless dark of space. From the high seats, one could see fleets of ships drifting outside, a quiet reminder that power and peace were both guarded by strength. For centuries, the Council had been the heart of galactic politics. Old empires, young colonies, and nomadic races sent their voices here to argue and decide the laws of the stars. It was a place of debate, of long speeches, of compromises that were sometimes fair and sometimes not. Yet despite its flaws, the chamber was respected, for it was better to talk than to fight. Humans had joined this council only a few generations ago. Compared to the ancient civilizations of the stars, they were new, a species still learning the vastness of the galaxy. Many council members saw them as useful workers and eager allies, but rarely as equals. Humanity had provided ships, resources, and soldiers in past wars, but decisions were often made without their full consent. Their voices were allowed, but rarely given true weight. On this day, the council was more crowded than usual. A threat loomed over all, the Silent Dominion. No one knew much about them. Their ships moved like shadows, silent and efficient, and entire colonies had fallen without warning. Rumors spread of fleets swallowed whole and planets cut off from the galaxy. Fear had brought the council together, and the session promised to be long and heated. At the center table, Ambassador Kira Holt sat with the human delegation. She was tall, with sharp eyes and calm posture, her voice known for its clarity. Around her were her aides and advisors, but she sat quietly observing the other speakers. She had attended many council sessions, and she knew the rhythm of these debates. Long hours of speeches, words circling in the air, while real meaning often lay hidden beneath courtesy. The high speaker of the council, a member of the Valar species, raised his forearms and called for silence. His voice echoed across the chamber, deep and resonant. Members of the council, we are gathered to face the greatest danger of our age. The Silent Dominion grows stronger. If we do not stand together, we will fall apart one by one. Murmurs of agreement followed. Representatives from the elder races nodded with solemn expressions. They had faced threats before, but this one was different. The Dominion was not a rival empire with demands or pride. They were something colder, moving without diplomacy, consuming without reason. The debate began. Species after species rose to speak. Some offered ships, others promised supplies. Many called for stronger unity under the guidance of the Council's elder members. The Trainari, whose empire stretched across 100 systems, offered fleets but demanded command over all joint operations. The Caliph, ancient and proud, wanted control over logistics. Smaller species worried about being ignored or used as pawns. Humans listened quietly. Their turn had not yet come. Kira kept her eyes on the chamber, noticing how often human concerns were brushed aside in passing. When one smaller species mentioned Earth's strategic shipping lanes, a Trainari delegate dismissed it, saying, "Humans are too inexperienced to protect such routes. Better leave it to us." Others nodded as if this were natural. Kira's advisors whispered in low voices. One of them, a young officer, frowned. "They speak as if we are not here, as if we are already servants, not partners." Kira gave a faint smile. "That is the way of this chamber. Let them speak. Words reveal more than they hide." Hours passed. The chamber grew restless. The treaty draft was displayed on the central screen, written in the elegant flowing script of the Valar. The draft demanded resources from all members, fleets, supplies, and manpower. But it gave decision-making power only to the elder races, the same species who had long ruled the council. Humans, along with many younger races, were listed only as contributors. Their voices were absent from the chain of command. At last, the High Speaker turned to Kira. "Ambassador Holt of Earth, the Council invites your words." The chamber grew quiet. Humans were always watched closely, for they spoke less often than others but with unusual directness. Kira stood, her hand steady at her side. Her voice carried easily across the room, calm yet firm. "Honored members of the Council, humanity came here with respect. We value the dream of unity among the stars. We know that the Silent Dominion threatens all of us, and we do not shy from duty. But the treaty you place before us demands our ships, our soldiers, and our lives, while denying us a true voice. You ask for our strength, yet you will not hear our counsel." Her words cut through the air. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others frowned. The Trinari speaker leaned forward, his scaled face stern. "Humans are young. You cannot guide fleets across the galaxy as we can. Leave command to those with centuries of experience. Your role is to provide support." A ripple of agreement followed, but Kira did not falter. "Experience does not always bring wisdom," she replied. "We humans may be new to this council, but we are not strangers to hardship. We have faced wars on our own soil, disasters in space, and challenges that forced us to learn quickly. We do not ask to lead all. We ask only for fairness, for partnership, not servitude." Her words struck deeper than many expected. The chamber was silent for a moment. Some smaller species nodded subtly, though they dared not speak in support. Others whispered to their aides, uneasy at the boldness of the human voice. The High Speaker raised his arms again. "Your words are noted, Ambassador Holt. The Council will consider them." But Kira could see in his expression that the decision was already leaning against them. The draft would pass without real change, and humanity would once again be asked to give much while receiving little. As she sat down, one of her aides whispered, "Do you think they will listen?" Kira's eyes remained on the chamber. "No, but they will remember that we spoke." The session continued late into the night cycle. Speeches grew louder, more heated. Some accused humans of arrogance. Others called them useful but reckless. Yet through it all, Kira remained calm, waiting for the moment when silence would mean more than words. Above the chamber, through the great glass walls, stars burned bright. They had witnessed empires rise and fall, and now perhaps they would witness something new, the moment when humanity refused to be overlooked. The council chamber was never quiet for long. After the first day of talks, the delegates returned for another long session. The treaty had not yet been signed, but the path toward approval was clear. The elder races spoke with confidence, and most younger species had little choice but to follow. Ambassador Kira Holt entered the chamber with calm steps, though her thoughts were heavy. She had spent the night reviewing the treaty again, reading each line carefully. The demands were the same: fleets, resources, and manpower from every species. But in the chain of command, humans were listed only as support. Not once were they offered equal decision-making rights. Her aides noticed her silence. One of them, an older diplomat named Jonas, leaned closer. "They will not change it, Kira. They think this is enough. They think we will accept." Kira's voice was quiet. "They think wrong." The session began with long speeches once more. The Trinari delegate, tall and scaled, rose first. His words were proud. "The Dominion moves quickly. We must answer with strength, not hesitation. Let the elder powers guide this war. We have the experience. The younger races will provide their aid. This is the natural order." Many voices agreed. The Calith delegate, whose people were older than almost every other, lifted his staff and added, "Wisdom comes from age. Humans are brave, yes, but their history is brief. Let them serve under our guidance, and the war will be won." The words struck like quiet insults. They were not shouted, but the meaning was clear. Humanity was useful but not trusted. When smaller races spoke, their words were filled with fear. The silent Dominion had already reached their borders. They asked for protection, not power. Few dared to demand more, afraid of losing even the little they were given. Kira listened to all of it. Her patience was steady, but her eyes grew sharper. She knew the moment was near. Finally, the High Speaker raised his forearms. His voice carried across the chamber. "The treaty is ready for final approval. Are there objections before we call the vote?" The room grew quiet. Many glanced toward the humans waiting. It was known that Earth had concerns. Some expected more polite words. Perhaps another request for fairness. Few imagined what would come instead. Kira stood slowly. Every eye turned toward her. "Honored members of the council," she began, her voice calm but steady. "We have listened. We have waited. We have given our thoughts with respect. But again, we are told our voices are too small. Again, we are asked to give our blood but not our counsel. You ask us to fight for a treaty that treats us as shadows." The chamber grew tense. Whispers moved like a wave through the delegates. Kira continued, her gaze sweeping the room. "We humans do not fear sacrifice. We have faced wars and disasters. We know what it means to pay the cost of survival. but we will not give everything while being treated as less than equal. If you cannot trust us with a seat at the table, then you cannot demand our place on the battlefield." The silence was heavy. For a moment, even the elder races did not answer. Then the Trinari delegate slammed his hand on the table. "Arrogance! Humans think they deserve equality after only a few centuries among the stars? We ruled empires before you left your world. You are children compared to us." A murmur of agreement followed, though it was not as strong as before. Some delegates looked uneasy. Others avoided meeting Kira's eyes. Kira did not raise her voice. "Children grow, and sometimes they grow faster than those who believe themselves eternal." The Caliph delegate hissed, his staff striking the floor. "Then what do you propose, human? Will you abandon the council in its hour of need?" Kira's answer was simple. "We propose fairness. We propose partnership. If you will not grant it, then we will not sign. Humanity will not fight under chains." Gasps filled the chamber. No one had spoken such words here in generations. Treaties were debated, argued, adjusted, but never rejected so boldly. The High Speaker raised his arms. His voice was strained. "Ambassador Holt, consider your choice carefully. The galaxy faces destruction. To walk away now would be to invite ruin for all." Kira's eyes met his. "To fight without respect is no less ruin. We are not servants. We are allies, or we are nothing." With that, she turned. Her delegation rose with her, each member silent but firm. Together, they began to walk out of the chamber. The sound of their footsteps echoed across the floor. No other species had ever done this. Some whispered in shock. Others called out angrily. The Trinari shouted, "You will doom yourselves." The Caliph muttered of betrayal, but no word stopped the humans. One by one, the delegation passed through the tall doors. When the last figure disappeared, the great chamber seemed emptier than ever before. The silence that followed was sharp, cutting deeper than any speech. For the first time, the council felt the weight of absence. The debates continued, but the energy had changed. Some tried to dismiss the humans. "Let them leave," the Trinari said. "We are strong without them." Yet others looked uneasy. A representative of the Tyran, a small avian species, whispered, "But without humans, who will hold the shipping lanes? Who will guide the colonies at the edge of space?" The High Speaker tried to restore order. "The Council remains united. We will vote and the treaty will stand." But the words sounded hollow. Everyone knew it. The humans had not just walked out. They had taken something with them, something the Council had relied on without realizing it. In the hall outside, Kira paused for a moment. She looked back at the great doors as they closed behind her. Her aides gathered around her, some nervous, others proud. One asked softly, "Was this wise?" Kira's eyes were steady. "Wisdom is not always in waiting. Sometimes it is in walking away. Let them see what happens without us." Her words carried no anger, only certainty. Humanity had spoken not with violence, but with silence and absence. Above the station, stars burned as they always had. Yet within the chamber, the order of the galaxy had shifted. For the first time in living memory, the Council faced the truth. Humanity was no longer a quiet newcomer. It was a power that could not be ignored. That night, across the galaxy, news spread. On distant colonies, human settlers cheered. On allied worlds, leaders whispered. Some admired the courage. Others feared the consequences. And in the far reaches of space, the silent Dominion advanced, their ships gliding like shadows, waiting to strike at a fractured galaxy. But for now, one fact was clear. Humanity had walked out, and the Council was left in disarray. The human walkout spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. Messages raced from world to world, carried by news channels, merchants, and wandering travelers. Everywhere the story was the same. Humanity had stood in the great chamber of the Council, rejected unfair terms, and walked away without fear. For many species, this act was unthinkable. The Council was seen as the heart of civilization, the place where even mighty empires bowed to discussion. To leave was to defy not just a treaty but the weight of tradition. Yet humanity had done it without hesitation. On the Council station inside the chamber, confusion still lingered. The Trinari delegate fumed, his scaled hand slamming the desk again and again. "They insult us. They think themselves equal to ancient powers. Without us, they are nothing. They are dust." The Caliph elder shook his head, staff tapping against the floor. "Do not underestimate them. Dust does not walk away from storms, it is carried. These humans walked by their own choice. That means something. The smaller species whispered among themselves. The Tyran, the Myli, the Vryn, they had long felt overlooked in council decisions. To see humanity, a younger race like themselves, stand up to the elders gave them a strange mix of fear and hope. If humans could demand fairness, perhaps one day they could too. The High Speaker raised his voice, trying to restore order. The council must not fracture. We cannot allow one race to break unity. The treaty will stand. The war against the Silent Dominion cannot wait. But the chamber felt weaker, as though a pillar had been removed from a great structure. The vote went forward, but many delegates cast their ballots with unease. They wondered what a war without humans might look like. Across the colonies on Earth, the news was met with pride. Citizens filled public squares, watching broadcasts of the walkout. Kira Holt's words were repeated again and again. We are not servants. We are allies, or we are nothing. For many humans, these words struck deep. Humanity had always been the younger voice in the galaxy, often treated as useful but unimportant. Now, for the first time, their representatives had refused to be dismissed. It felt like a turning point, a moment when Earth stood taller than before. On Mars, colonists raised the human flag above their domes and celebrated. On distant mining stations, workers shared the news with pride. Soldiers in the fleets cheered quietly, feeling that at last their sacrifices were being respected by their leaders. But there was also worry. The Silent Dominion was real. To walk away from the council meant facing the possibility of fighting alone. Some asked whether defiance was worth the danger. Others answered that dignity was worth more than fear. Among the allies in the Tyran Republic, small bird-like creatures gathered in their own chamber. Their leader, a frail elder with feathers turning silver, spoke softly. The humans did what we have long wished to do. They demanded respect. They refused chains. Another delegate asked, "Shall we follow their path?" The elder shook his head. Not yet, but their example will not be forgotten. The council will learn that strength does not always come from age. Similar conversations echoed in other worlds. Some admired humanity's courage while others feared their absence. Merchants worried about trade. Soldiers wondered how strategies would be formed without the humans' unique insight. The Silent Dominion advances far away. The enemy watched. The Silent Dominion did not speak in words, but their actions were clear. Probes slipped into council space, mapping weak points. Small colonies vanished, their signals cut off in silence. Refugees whispered of ships without lights. Fleets that moved like shadows, overwhelming everything in their path. The Dominion cared nothing for treaties or councils. To them, the division of their enemies was an open door, and now that humanity had stepped aside, that door grew wider. Earth's new path in a meeting room on Earth, Kira Holt stood before her own council. Around the table sat generals, diplomats, and leaders from across the human colonies. We have made our choice, she said. The galaxy knows it. The council will try to continue without us, but they will feel our absence. Our task now is not to hide, but to prepare. If the Dominion comes, we will face them, not as servants, but as a people united. General Marcus Lee, commander of the fleet, leaned forward. The council underestimates us. They forget our history. They forget how fast we learn. We will strengthen our defenses. We will expand our fleets, and if others come seeking alliance on fair terms, we will listen. But we will not kneel, the Human Council agreed. Plans were set in motion. Shipyards expanded, supply lines secured, training intensified. Humanity would not wait to be saved by others. They would stand ready, with or without the council. The growing unease back on the council station, the cracks deepened. Without human ships, trade routes weakened. Pirates grew bold. Convoys that once relied on human escorts now faced danger. A Myli delegate stood during a late session, wings trembling with frustration. We cannot defend our borders. Without the humans, our colonies are exposed. The Trinari replied coldly. Then defend them yourselves, or submit more fully to our command. Anger grew. Resentment spread. The unity of the council was breaking. What was meant to be a grand alliance against the Dominion was turning into arguments and mistrust. The High Speaker knew this, but his words could not heal the wound. The absence of humanity was not just a missing fleet, it was a missing balance. Humans had been the bridge between older and younger species, stubborn enough to speak truth, yet open enough to listen. Without them, the council felt incomplete. Whispers of return. Not all council members wanted to keep the humans away. Quietly, envoys began to suggest sending messages to Earth, asking them to reconsider. But pride held many back. To admit they needed humans was to admit weakness, and the elder races were not ready to do that. Still, the whispers spread. On the station, in private rooms, small delegations spoke. We must bring them back. Without them, we will fall. Kira's reflection. Late one evening, Kira walked along the coast of her home city on Earth. The waves rolled gently under the night sky. She thought of the chamber, of the voices raised against her, of the silence when she and her people had walked away. Had she done the right thing? She believed so. Yet she knew the cost was not small. Humanity was strong, but they could not fight the Dominion alone forever. A message came from one of her aides. Ambassador, reports say the Dominion has attacked another outpost. The Council is slow to answer. Their fleets are not moving together. Kira closed her eyes for a moment. She could almost feel the weight of the galaxy pressing on her shoulders. Humanity had chosen dignity, but the price of dignity was responsibility. If the Council failed, if the Dominion spread too far, the humans would face them on their own borders. And yet, in her heart, she knew the truth. Better to fight as equals than to serve as shadows. The galaxy watches, from distant colonies to the oldest empires. Every eye turned toward Earth. Some watched with anger, calling humans reckless. Others watched with hope, seeing in them the courage they wished they had. The Dominion grew closer each day, but the greater fear now lay within the Council itself. Could they stand united without humanity, or would the galaxy fracture, leaving every world to fall one by one? For now the answer remained unclear, but one truth was certain: humanity had changed the game. Their walkout was not just a refusal. It was a message to the stars. Humans would not be ignored. And in the silence left behind, the galaxy began to realize just how loud that message truly was. The galaxy had changed. The Council's chamber, once filled with confident voices and orderly debate, now felt hollow. Without humans present, disagreements festered and coordination faltered. The silent Dominion moved with quiet precision, striking at the edges of Council space, testing defenses and measuring response. Colonies vanished without warning. Supply convoys were destroyed. Communication networks faltered. Panic spread faster than reason, and the once proud Council began to crumble under the weight of its own arrogance. The Council's struggle. Inside the Council station, the High Speaker summoned an emergency session. Delegates arrived in haste, their faces pale, voices trembling. The Trinari paced angrily, scales reflecting the cold light of the chamber. "We cannot allow this," he shouted. "Without the humans, our fleets are scattered. Our colonies are exposed. The Dominion will strike at our heart if we do not act." The Caliph elder raised his staff, voice sharp. "We are proud and wise. We will survive. We do not need to beg newcomers for assistance. Let each race defend itself, and the strong will carry the rest." Smaller species, however, whispered among themselves. "If only the humans were here," muttered one mealy delegate. "Their fleets, their strategy. They could guide us." The High Speaker tried to restore order. "Enough, we must coordinate. Every species must commit resources immediately. Delay is death." But words alone could not repair the fractured Council. Orders were miscommunicated. Fleets moved too slowly. Defense lines were incomplete. Each new attack from the Dominion exposed weakness, and fear replaced confidence. Human observation. Far from the Council, humanity watched the events unfold. Kira Holt convened a meeting with the Earth Council, fleet commanders, and leaders from colonies across the solar system. The humans were ready, not out of defiance, but out of foresight. "Look at them," Kira said, her voice calm yet firm. "The Council cannot act without us. The Dominion senses weakness. If the Council collapses, it will be up to humanity to defend the galaxy." "And we will." General Marcus Lee, standing beside her, nodded. "They underestimate our ability to respond quickly. Their fleets are large but slow. Humans adapt fast. We can turn this crisis into an opportunity to show that cooperation is earned, not demanded." Engineers, strategists, and diplomats worked together, mapping supply routes, fortifying colonies, and preparing for Dominion attacks. Humanity did not hesitate, for they had no choice. The Council had rejected fairness, but the galaxy could not wait for pride to catch up. The first Dominion strike. The first Dominion strike hit a mining colony at the edge of Council space. The colony had no human escort, and its defenses were poorly coordinated. In minutes, communications went dark. The attack was swift, precise, and merciless. News of the colony's destruction reached the Council station immediately. Panic swept through the chamber. Delegates argued over responsibility. Some demanded stronger fleets, others called for immediate retaliation. Orders were sent, then cancelled. Confusion reigned. In a private room, the High Speaker admitted to his aide, "We cannot fight effectively without humans. Their fleets were the only ones capable of quick response, and now we must face the Dominion at our weakest moment." Across the galaxy, humanity received word of the attack. Kira Holt's expression was grim. "This is why we walked out. They needed to learn that strength without wisdom fails. But now we must act, not just watch. Prepare the fleet. We move to protect the colonies the Council cannot." The revelation as the humans mobilized. A Council envoy was dispatched to Earth. Their mission was simple: plead for humanity's return, offer concessions, and remind them of the galaxy-wide stakes. The envoy, a Valar diplomat named Sorn, arrived at Earth's orbital command station. He was greeted by Kira and her council. Unlike his appearance in the council chamber, here he saw a world united. Humans from many nations worked together seamlessly, coordinating ships, defenses, and supplies. The sight was both impressive and unsettling. "You must understand," Sorn began cautiously. "The Council cannot fight without you. They are fractured. They need your guidance." Kira's eyes were steady. "We know. We are prepared to defend our people. But we will not act under chains. We will not follow orders from those who treat us as less than equals." Sorn hesitated. He had seen humans as proud, yes, but he had not realized the depth of their unity. While the Council had fractured, humanity had grown stronger, more capable, more ready to face the Dominion than anyone had imagined. "You see, Ambassador," Sorn said finally, "your absence has revealed the truth. The Council relies on you more than they admit. You are not just participants. You are the bridge between strategy and action, between wisdom and courage." Kira nodded slowly. "Then let the Council earn our return. Not by fear, not by threat, but by respect. If they want humanity's strength, they must offer partnership." Preparation for battle, human fleets surged forward, moving with precision and coordination that no other race could match. They reached threatened colonies in time to stabilize defenses, evacuate civilians, and strike Dominion reconnaissance ships. Where chaos had reigned, order now returned. On one frontier world, a young human pilot, Lieutenant Rena Chen, led her squadron against Dominion scouts. "They won't see us coming," she called over the comms, weaving through asteroid fields. Her squadron responded flawlessly, showing skill, courage, and trust in each other. Colonists watched in awe as humans coordinated rescues and defenses. Word of their success spread quickly, both among Council races and across independent systems. Whispers of admiration and fear followed the humans' path. Back on Earth, Kira monitored the operations. Her aides provided updates on every battlefront, every convoy, and every Dominion incursion. Humanity had proven something important. They were not just willing to fight, they were uniquely capable of doing so. The Council realizes the truth. Back at the Council station, reports came in slowly. Colonies that had fallen without human guidance were now being stabilized by human fleets. Communication channels previously fractured were repaired with speed only humans could manage. Delegates were forced to face reality. The Trinari, once proud and dismissive, admitted quietly to his aides, "Without the humans, our strategy is weak. Too many mistakes, too slow. We underestimated them." The Caliph elder, normally stern and unyielding, muttered, "They do not merely follow orders. They think, they adapt. We have treated them as children, fools." The High Speaker, realizing the Council's failure, sent another envoy to Earth urging a meeting. This time, the request was not for compliance but for partnership. A choice for humanity on Earth, Kira gathered her council. "The Council now asks us to return. They have seen the truth, but we cannot go simply because they beg. We will return only on our terms." Equal voice, equal responsibility, partnership or nothing. Her aides nodded in agreement. They had all seen the difference humanity made in the field. They had also seen the pride, arrogance, and slow action of the elder races. Humanity had power now, but power came with a responsibility. To protect, yes, but also to demand fairness. Kira turned to the fleet commanders. Prepare to receive their envoys. Listen, but do not act until we have clarity. The galaxy needs us, yes, but it must respect us as well. The stage is set in the shadows of space. The silent Dominion continued to move. They had observed the Council's weakness and humanity's absence. They did not yet understand the human advantage, the ability to act quickly, to coordinate seamlessly, to inspire loyalty and courage. The Council itself was humbled, forced to reconsider the human's value. The stage was set for a new chapter, one in which humanity could claim its rightful place not as followers, but as equals. As Kira looked at the stars from the Earth command station, she knew the coming days would be difficult. The Dominion would test them, the Council would negotiate, and the galaxy would watch. But one thing was clear: humanity had proven its worth. The lesson had been learned, and now it was time for the galaxy to acknowledge it. The Council had no choice. Humanity had proven its value beyond question. Every fleet, every convoy, and every colony that had been stabilized by human strategy highlighted what the Council had ignored for too long. The elder races had to act, but they knew the humans would not return without conditions. Ambassador Kira Holt received the Council's envoys personally on Earth's orbital command station. Sorn, the Valar diplomat who had visited before, returned with a delegation of elders from the Trinari, Kalith, and other major species. Their faces were serious, a mixture of humility, concern, and, for some, grudging respect. Kira met them in the conference hall, her posture calm and commanding. She did not rise to greet them. She waited, letting the weight of their absence and the chaos that had followed speak for itself. Sorn began first. Ambassador Holt, humanity has shown its worth. The Council, we have been wrong. Without your fleets, your guidance, the galaxy faltered. We asked for your return not as a favor, but as an equal partner. Kira's eyes met his, steady and unwavering. We have watched your fleets move slowly. Your convoys falter, your colonies suffer. We have seen that strength without cooperation is weakness. Humanity will return, yes, but only if the Council agrees to equal representation. No more shadows. No more being overlooked. We will act as partners, not servants. There was silence. The Valar and the Trinari exchanged glances. The Kalith staff tapped lightly against the table. The weight of centuries of pride made acceptance difficult, but necessity demanded it. Finally, the Trinari elder spoke. You have shown wisdom as well as courage. We accept your terms. Humanity will be granted a seat equal to any other in the Council. You will have a voice in decisions, a vote in strategy, and command of your fleets. Kira nodded. Then we return not to follow but to protect. Not for glory, but for the galaxy. Humanity's leadership. With the agreement formalized, humanity mobilized at full strength. Ships that had been positioned at key colonies were recalled to defend weak points and coordinate the Council's fragmented forces. Human diplomats worked closely with other races, helping to rebuild communication networks, organize convoys, and train allied fleets in rapid response strategies. For the first time, humans were not just participants, they were leaders. Every operation was coordinated, every decision respected, every voice considered. Other races, initially wary, began to rely on human insight. The difference was remarkable. Where chaos had reigned, order now emerged. Lieutenant Rena Chen led her squadron through dangerous territory, intercepting Dominion scouts, escorting convoys, and demonstrating skill that inspired allies and intimidated enemies. Colonists cheered when they saw humans coordinating rescues, showing not only bravery but intelligence, adaptability, and teamwork. Even the most skeptical Council members could not deny humanity's effectiveness. Where the Dominion had expected hesitation, they encountered precision. Where they had counted on weakness, they faced unwavering coordination. Humanity had become the linchpin of galactic defense. The silent Dominion faces resistance. The Dominion, advancing without pause, soon encountered a united front it had not anticipated. Human-led fleets coordinated attacks with Council forces, using strategy, speed, and adaptability. The Dominion scouts were caught in ambushes, supply lines disrupted, and colonies defended with expertise previously thought impossible. For the first time, the Dominion hesitated. They were not used to an enemy that learned quickly, adapted constantly, and inspired loyalty in allies. Humanity's presence changed the balance of power. Where others relied on strength alone, Humans combined courage, intellect, and strategy. Colonies that had once felt abandoned now held strong. Communication networks were restored. Trade routes reopened. Diplomacy, previously slow and cumbersome, moved with surprising efficiency. Humanity's insistence on fairness and partnership had not only saved the Council's operations, it had strengthened them beyond expectation. Council reconciliation. Inside the Council chamber, the mood was dramatically different from the days before the walkout. Delegates now spoke with caution, respect, and often admiration when addressing humanity. The Trinari elder, once dismissive, now consulted directly with Kira Holt. The Caliph, stern as ever, asked for her advice before approving fleet movements. The High Speaker addressed the chamber, his voice firm but tinged with humility. Today we witness a new era. Humanity has shown courage, skill, and leadership. We have learned that respect must be earned and given equally. Let this be a lesson to all. No species, however young or small, should be dismissed. Together we are stronger. Together we defend the galaxy. Whispers of approval spread across the chamber. Younger species who had long feared being ignored felt hope. The Mayeli, the Tyren, and other smaller species now saw an example in humanity. Courage paired with intelligence could change the balance of power. A new era begins with humans fully reintegrated into the Council. Operations shifted from reaction to proactive defense. Coordinated strategies began to reclaim lost territories. The Dominion, for the first time, faced resistance that could not be bypassed. Kira Holt oversaw the planning sessions personally. She did not act as a commander imposing authority, but as a leader inspiring cooperation. Human and alien commanders learned to trust each other, following plans that were precise, adaptable, and effective. Colonies that had faced despair now flourished under combined leadership. Resources flowed efficiently, defenses strengthened, and morale improved. Humanity's insistence on fairness had not only restored their own dignity, but had stabilized the galaxy. Recognition and respect. The final session of the Council was unlike any in memory. Every species attended, not to assert dominance but to acknowledge the new balance of power. Humans, once newcomers, now stood as equals. Their voices were heard in every vote. Their insight shaped every decision. Kira Holt rose to speak. We did not walk away to challenge authority. We walked away to demand fairness. We return not to lead by force but to protect by partnership. The galaxy is stronger when all voices are respected, when all skills are used, when all species act as allies, not shadows. Humanity walks with equals or not at all. Today we walk together. Applause and respectful murmurs filled the chamber. For the first time, the Council felt truly united. Humanity had not only returned, they had transformed the galaxy's understanding of courage, fairness, and leadership. The future outside the chamber, fleets moved in coordinated precision. Colonies were safe, trade routes thriving, and communication networks stronger than ever. The silent Dominion, faced with unexpected resistance, slowed their advance, forced to reconsider their strategy. On Earth, people watched the news with pride. Humanity had proven its worth not through domination but through courage, intelligence, and a refusal to accept unfairness. Children dreamed of stars, inspired by the knowledge that their species had walked out once only to return as equals. Kira Holt looked up at the night sky, the stars burning bright above. We have done what we must, she said quietly, and we have reminded the galaxy that humanity cannot be ignored. Her aides nodded, their faces showing relief, pride, and determination. Humanity had changed the galaxy, not by force but by insisting on respect, by proving its worth and by refusing to compromise its dignity. And in that moment, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging that a new era had begun.